The state auditor released an audit earlier this year that indicated that the low-income housing program in the state through tax credits is very inefficient. Only about 33 cents on the dollar actually goes to low-income housing. As treasurer, you would sit on the MHDC. What are your opinions of the current state of our low-income housing program, and what would you do with anything to change it?
This question goes first to Brad Mock. You know, as the chairman of the Joint Committee on Tax Policy, one of the credits that we're currently working through is the housing credit. And I have spent a phenomenal amount of hours studying with Pete Ramsell and the staff over there to really get my hands around this. So what I can tell you is this. I agree with the auditor that 33 cents on the dollar is not adequate. I think we can do better. Heck, I would tell you, I think we can do better in almost every government program, actually. But I am committed to doing everything we can to increase the number of dollars that go in. Now, with that said, I will also tell you that with all the programs that we're currently looking at, because right now what I have is I've asked the staff to go out and put all the programs together for all the different states, so we can look through it and see if anyone has a better program than what we have here. And so far, there's no great program out there. Different states do it different ways. Some much worse than us. Some would like to argue that they're better than us. But I will tell you that I believe that we can improve this program, and I have every intention of doing everything I can as the state treasurer to get more of those dollars into building projects.
Thank you. First, when you talk about the use of tax credits for low-income housing, I would say, first, the credits are an important piece to make low-income housing happen. I think for two reasons. First, I am concerned that from a budget perspective, you would not see real allocations made toward low-income housing in the state if it was not for the tax credits to be in effect. So I think that's an important piece, and I think that's an important reason for existence of the credit in the first place. I think a second piece is that I never want state government to be in a position where we're just sort of choosing projects on our own and doling out dollars through direct appropriations. It doesn't make sense, and I think the same concerns that we have with the way the current program would be exacerbated in that environment. Two things I think really need to be addressed through MHDC at this point. First, there has to be a tracking system that really begins to tell the story of how these credits are working on the ground. That means from the point that they're issued, authorized, and redeemed, and really begin to understand at the micro level how that process works and how it's happening on the ground from an economic perspective. We have to know that if we expect to move forward. Secondly, you have to have trust in these programs. And when you have members of the commission doing business deals with developers that are sitting in front of the commission, it's unacceptable. You have to have a separation, and the first thing that I would do as a member of that commission is establish a policy and offer a policy that would prohibit any business dealings from developers and members of those commissions. They shouldn't be doing business together if they're on that commission. Thank you.
Yes, follow up. Go ahead, Tony. We'll treat this as the rebuttal portion of it.
Follow up to what you just said, Glenn, as it relates to having business dealings with developers. Would you classify an elected official receiving campaign dollars from developers as business dealings with those developers?
Well, I would support an extension of our campaign finance law. I mean, first, I think it's important that we've had some recent changes to the campaign finance laws that actually allow unlimited contributions in the first place, but I would support expanding the law to have a clear separation between having elected officials accept campaign contributions from a developer that's doing business with the state.
Right? I believe that our campaign finance needs to be just like our state government. That is, I believe in complete transparency. I believe that you should know where those dollars come from. And I think that anyone who wants to invest in your campaign because they believe in you, your same philosophical beliefs, your same values, should have that opportunity. But let's make no mistake about it. Whoever the state treasurer is needs to understand, which I will be the very first person to stand up and tell everyone, there's only one group of people that I work for, and that's for the taxpayers. I will get up every day committed to doing what is right for the taxpayers of the state.
Thank you. We're ready for our next question. Good thing I came with you. The treasurer has a role in signing off on settlements for the second entry fund. There's been some debate at the Capitol about the solvency of the second entry fund and who's to blame for the current situation and what should be done. So, sort of a multi-part question. First of all, do you believe that the second injury fund is in fact nearing insolvency? If so, why, and what should be done about that? This question starts with Clint's wife.
Thank you. I think if you look at the second injury fund and why it was created, I think it's important for folks to know the purpose of it. It was really to help injured veterans that were coming back from the war to make sure that they could obtain employment and they wouldn't really face discrimination on the job because of a previous injury. That's an important goal and something that in current times for soldiers that are returning home from our war on terror, that those folks also have those same protections. The first thing that I would do as a state treasurer is to lead a review of the fund, to look at its solvency and look what position it's in right now. At the end of the day, my most important goal is to make sure that we protect injured workers who, through no fault of their own, are suffering loss of employment.
Brad Locker.
You know, I serve on the Joint Committee on Legislative Research, and that's the committee that has been reviewing this fund. And we have heard, I can't even imagine how many hours of testimony that we have heard. And to be very candid, it has become partisan politics, bickering back and forth as they try to point fingers. And the simple answer is, we're not going to fix it by trying to make this a campaign issue. The simple reality is, if we're going to fix the fund, two things have to happen. Number one, we have to understand the true assessment of where it is today. So we need a new study. We've, one, changed the workers' comp laws since in 2005, which a portion of the premium of the workers' comp is what goes to fund the second injury fund. And the second thing is we have to have a real understanding of who's using it and how it's being used. So I would agree with Clint, and that the only way to begin to figure out how to fix this is to go do a study and figure out where we're at right now. So does it need fixed? There's no doubt about it. Is it moving towards insolvency? I think we all agree that it is. The simple answer is it's time for partisan politics to get out of the way, and let's just do what's right for the taxpayers of the state.
Thank you. The state treasurer in the past couple of election cycles has sought to become governor. Bob Holden did it. Sarah Steelman tried to. It didn't work out for her. So the treasurer's office is sometimes used as a stepping stone. Do either of you have aspirations of someday becoming a governor or running for some higher office, even higher than treasurer? Brad, you're first.
No, I'm running for state treasurer because I want to get up every day and fight for the taxpayers of this state. And although I don't think in politics you ever rule out future opportunities, just as I don't think in politics you ever rule out it's time to go home and coach t-ball and do all the fun things that really are important in life. But I will tell you this, I'm not running for treasurer today to be the governor. I'm running to be the treasurer. From my first day in office, I have made myself my mark in Jefferson City on fiscal policy. Whether it was my 4 years that I served in the House on the Budget Committee, chairing it, whether it was my time in the Senate, fighting on ways and means and government accountability and fiscal oversight. I'm asking to be your state treasurer because I believe that you deserve to have a fiscal watchdog, getting up every day, making sure that your money is being spent and invested in your best interest.
That's right.
I'm passionate about public service, period. And I think the treasurer's office right now is one of the most important offices that you can imagine running for in the state. If you think about the real debates in Jefferson City over the last 6 years, 4 years, fiscal policy and fiscal issues have really been the centerpiece of those debates. So being able to serve in an office where you can bring fiscal competence to the office, where you can invest taxpayers' dollars wisely, where you can protect their assets is critical and important. But in addition to that, I think the Treasurer's Office provides a really great opportunity to really be able to bring a larger vision of what state government should be about and what state government's role is. And at the end of the day, I think Missouri right now is at a crossroads. I think the last 4 years of fiscal policy has been terrible on the state. I think it's been terrible on its citizens. And we have real opportunities right now to elect statewide officials who understand what we need to do to move the state forward again. I think the state treasurer can play a special role in fiscal policy and talk about issues like making higher education more affordable, helping grow jobs in our state, and helping make sure health care is accessible. the state treasurer has a real opportunity to be at the centerpiece of that debate and contribute to it. It's an office I'm passionate about and excited about and would be honored to serve it.